Hello everyone, in this video we are going to see what's a Flow JSON introduction. To create WhatsApp flows with and without endpoint, you need to understand the Flow JSON. Then only you can able to create and configure the WhatsApp flows. In the Flow JSON reference page, if you scroll down, you can see there are 6 concepts: screen, layout, routing model, components, form and action. So first you need to understand these 6 things. Then only you can able to get the idea how the Flow JSON works. Just look about the screens. So I am going to the another example. In the right side you can see there's one flow. So in the flow you can see this is title, and after the title they are asking one question, the radio buttons and some text. After that there's a one button, right? Continue button. Let's understand the screen. So in the Flow JSON, so I just keep my cursor here. I can see some down arrow. I just okay. So this is the version and this is the screen. So if I expand the screen, if I press this down arrow, okay, you can see this is one screen object. There's another screen object as well. So if I hide this one, you can see there are two screen objects. So in the preview, recommended is a one screen, rate is a second screen. Okay, so first expand the first screen. So what is the first screen? Recommend. So I just expand it. So screen having some properties like ID, title, data and layout. Just consider about the ID, right? So ID only contains alphabets and the underscore. So if you put any number and run it, see you are getting ID should only consist of alphabets and underscore, right? So I just delete this one and run it again. So again it's working because this is a valid ID. After the title, as I mentioned before, screen is contains the title and the layout. So first consider about the title. I just type here and I just run this one. So it's got updated flow 1 and 2 here. So title it's represented in here. After the data, so I will explain the data a bit later. So just consider about the layouts. After the screen, then only layout will come. Type is a single column layout. So as of now you can think about only one type. The type is a single column layout. Then we will see some other types. So in this layout there are some items, right? You can see title is in the screen configuration. After that you can see would you recommend us to a friend. Okay, and after that there's one radio button and there's a one text field. So here consider about this one. Children, I just hide this one. Okay, this is only contain the children only contain one object. Children array only contains a one object. Okay, I just expand it again. Children type is a form, the name is a form. You can see here there's no ID inside the children, right? Because name is behaving like a ID here, because this is unique, right? If you put anything that might affect our business logic. After that in the children we can see some other types. Text subheading, actually this one. So what is the first subtype? I expand it. Screen subheading. Okay, this is a screen subheading. So after that radio buttons group, and this children's called as a components. And the other one, this is text subheading. Okay, so another one. And what is the other one? Text area. So this is a text area. So now I press a just. So after I press the just, this button become visible. That's because you can see in this radio group button, I mentioned this one as a required. So to navigate to the next screen or complete this one, I need to select one of the value here. But here they have mentioned optional. That because you can see this is optional, right? So that because if you scroll down to the text area, so they have mentioned required as false. So if I mention true and I just run this one, okay, now I select this one, but after I select this one, this is not yet visible. That because I need to enter this text area value to make this one visible, because I mentioned required as true. So if I enter any text, you can see now it's become visible. Now think about the footer. Footer is this one, right? This object, this component of. So type is a footer. Okay, label is continue here. So if label mean like whatever that value we put it here, after we run it we can see in the this one, right? So I will type here, you can see footer here, right? So after that on click action. So here you need to consider about one thing. So in case if you work with any kind of forms in website or like HTML or whatever the different kind of technologies, in the form we have put a button. After click this button, what we are going to do? So in this case, name is navigate. Navigate mean going from one screen to another screen. And after we put navigate, we are mentioning next is object, right? So array means like this, right? So next is the object. So this next object contain two things, type and name. So what is type? I'm going to the next screen, right? I'm going to the next screen, and the next screen name is rate. So you can see this is the recommend. So another screen is available, that's called rate. So what will going to happen is, so after user press this one, and if the user press continue here, that will go to the rate, because in the footer we have write our business logic, right? So what we want to do, so I hope you understand these things. Okay, but about this payload, if you are working with WhatsApp Cloud API, you must aware of the WhatsApp webhook. So exactly 2 years before I created a WhatsApp webhook, and recently also I published one thing on how you can work with the WhatsApp webhook, right? These two videos, and in the top recently I published one thing. Okay, I think that is in the this one, setup WhatsApp webhook. If you put here, after you press this button, right, the first screen button, this payload will come into our webhook as a response, payload and recommended radio and comment text. So where we are getting these values? We are getting from form. What is form? We are in the form, right? So form, I mentioned previously, name is behaving like a ID in the form and the components, because there's no ID here, because name is behaving like a ID. Recommended radio, this is a value, you can put whatever the key you want it. And form is we are getting from here, name. And after that we are mentioning form dot recommended radio. So recommended radio is the name, because I mentioned name is behaving like ID. Okay. So what is the second one? Comment text. What is that? Comment text is here in this. This is a comment text. So what is that value? Once we press this button, recommended radio is just, right? So just mean here ID 0. Comment text is E. So exit or something, or got it or something, like whatever the value we type it here, that will emit in the WhatsApp webhook. Okay, now we will go to the second screen, that's called rate screen. Okay, so in the rate screen you can see done. So I am going to hide this first screen. So in the screens I am going to just hide it and expand the rate screen. Okay, so now you much aware about the ID, so screen ID and the title 2 of 2. Okay, feedback 2 of 2, and the data. So I mentioned I will cover this data. Okay, let's see. In the data is object. So in this data object we are having two other objects. What is the two other objects? Recommended radio and comment text. Okay, what is the type of the recommended radio? Type is a string, and the example we are putting here, we are putting string and we are providing a example string, that's all. And the comment text type is a string, and again the example we need to put any string example, right? So you can put whatever. This all's done. Okay, what is the terminal screen? Which means if you are having flow, you must have one terminal screen, because you need to close it, right? So once the pop-up open, like you are like, okay, let's see, like someone press this button and enter the value and something blah blah blah, and after that click the continue here, and it's go to the second screen, red screen. And after that, right, I am selecting this value and this value, and customer service I am giving the feedback. And if I press done, what will going to happen is this want to terminate, right? This want to complete the action. So that's what, if you having any of the flow, it should contain one terminal screen. So without terminal screen, just see I am deleting this terminal screen. So I run this one, see what is the message I am getting. The property success can be only specified on a terminal screen. I control set this one terminal screen, because terminal screen is important to complete the WhatsApp flow. Without terminal screen, you can't able to send any of the flows. Success is true. So this is a layout. So layout type is a single column layout. And children. Children having some other property. One is the text subheading. The another one is drop down, and drop down. So you can see in this layout, type is a form, name is a form because name is behaving like ID here, and the children. Okay, what is the first children? Text subheading, rate the following. Okay, rate the following. Okay, what is the second one? The drop down. Okay, let's see, because like drop down is similar. So let's explore one drop down. So type is a drop down after the label. So as you know, label is like a text that will come here, right, for the user identification. Okay, so required mean I need this value, then only this button become visible. What is name? So name is behaving like ID in the form and the component. So this is the drop down component, so it should have the name. And data source. So data source, we are mentioning object, right? So list of object. One is ID and another one is a title. See the first title, excellent, right, with the 5 star. Second one, 4 star, right? So if I click here, these data, right, this is not another screen or another layout, right? So this is a drop down selection. So this is not another layout. Okay, and that's all. I am just scroll down. Okay, so now I am going to the footer again. You know, like this is a footer. Okay, so type is a footer. We know label is done. So you, if you want any text, you can type it here, and we will come to the main part, on click action. So previously we navigate from the first screen to second screen, but now we are completing the action because in the second screen we having the terminal, right? Terminal true, which means we are going to complete this action. So after user press a done, we are completing the action. So name is a complete, and the payload, which means we are going to emit this response in the webhook. So now see a second example here. Again the version like and screen. Okay, let's see how many screens is contained. Okay, this is only having one screen. Okay, I am expanding it here. So ID is a sign up, so which means this is a unique, so we can't put any of the numbers here, only underscore and the alphabetic characters. Okay, title finish sign up. Okay, we got the title. Okay, and data. So here data we keep it as empty because we are requesting from the user. Instead of giving, we are requesting this one from the user. Terminal true. So why we are seeing terminal is true, which means it's only having one screen. So after user press is done button, screen will going to end. That's why terminal is true and success is true. Okay, so in the layout we are having one form, type is a form. We are having some childrens, right? The first children is text input. So what is name? First name. What is the label? First name. Okay, this is a label, and input type is a text. Okay, this is we are expecting user to input a text. After that, required true. So we need to enter this value to click done. Okay, I just enter here my name. Okay, and the last name also, because both are similar, right? The only one different from this two to this one, that is input type is email, because we can handle the validation here. So if it's a number or whatever, you can specify here. And in this case we are specifying as a email. So if I type 1, this is not a valid one. If I add 2, again this is not a valid one. But if I add 3 and dot or another one, this is a valid mail, right? So then only I can able to see the done. So sometimes I don't need this one. So if you don't need this property, you can make this one as false. So without deleting also, I just run it this one. Okay, see, I just put my name. So then it become visible because I make this field as required false. Footer property. Okay, type is a footer, label is done, and on click action is complete because it contains the terminal screen. And the payload, we are emitting this payload in our webhook, the first name and last name and email. So we know form.email this one, and form.last name and form.first name, and that's all. Okay, you can see what we are going to do is here I just expand it. This is having the 4 screen, right? Sign in, sign up, forget password, terms and conditions, right? So in this case, like in previously I mentioned, I covered the screen layout, and I covered the components and form and action, right? Action, what are the action we have? See, complete and navigate. Okay, we haven't covered about the routing model. Okay, see what is routing model. Okay, in the routing model we are mentioning how our screen want to navigate. Okay, see, first we are showing the sign in screen. Okay, so in the sign in screen, sign up and forget password. Okay, see here, if you click forget password, that will go to the forget password page. If I click sign up, again this will go to the sign up page. Okay, in the sign up page, right, so I am going to the sign up. In the sign up page, there's one navigation that is called terms and conditions. So if you click this read more, that will go to the second screen, but this is not visible here, terms and condition, right? So this will go to this screen, right? So we can read everything. So we can read our terms and condition. Okay, so other than that, forgot password and the terms and condition, because they don't have any navigation. If they have the navigation, what you want to do is you need to put the screen ID here. Like, so in this case, this screen is a sign in screen, so you need to put like this. If it contains second screen, like Apple or something, you can put it here. This should work, but in our case we don't have any other screen. So what do you want to do? Like, to create a screen, just copy and paste it. That's all. Boom, screen got created, right? So I make this one as Apple. So likewise you can able to like create the screens, right? So this is how the routing model work. So let's see, in the first I just control set that. So in the first screen, let's see how we are handling the footer. Okay, in the footer we are handling a different property that's called data exchange. The previously we see the navigate and the complete, but here this is data exchange. There's two ways you can able to create the WhatsApp flows. One is with endpoint, another one is without endpoint. If you are using an endpoint, sometimes you need this data, because you can see if I am pressing this one, I am entering the email and the password. So like after I press this button, I want this email and password. This endpoint will send a post request to our business server. So then our business server will handle all of the things and responds the data. Currently we are building a boilerplate for WhatsApp Cloud API. So here we are handling the encryption, WhatsApp flow encryption and decryption. As you know, to get the WhatsApp webhook event, we no need any of the encryption or decryption. After user presses sign in, this email and password will come to our endpoint, right? Our custom endpoint. And in using the endpoint, we are getting those details like the email and password, and we are doing a validation. Then we are sending the response. As you know, WhatsApp is end-to-end encrypted. If you want to send any data, you need to encrypt it and send it, and our Meta will decrypt it and read it. So likewise, if Meta send a post request, I mean, what is a post request? Like this one, right? Email and password. Sending a post request to our custom endpoint, that will come as a encrypted request. Then we need to decrypt that request, and then only we can able to see what is the JSON structure, because that will come like a ABCD, something like that, encrypted, right? So we need to decrypt it. So all the logic will handle in our boilerplate code. So if you want this boilerplate code, you can give your email. We will launch this one in the next week, right? So you can able to get the first day offer. So I just scroll down and they have some other properties. So in the screens, let's see a data. The first object is a city, right? City is a type of array. I just got the details. If I click the city, that will go here. City is a type of array that's contain the items. The items is object that contains some properties, right? One is ID, another one is the title. So what is ID? ID is type of string. Title is type of string. One example, right? So if we want this one, I just put second example and third it and fourth. Okay. Now I make this one as 2. If I run it, let's see how it works. Okay, if I click the city, you can see these are the values I created here. So in case if you are using flow with the endpoint, you can give this value from your endpoint. We will see in the next video because it's taking too much time. Data.city, it's a type of array. Why I am saying this is type of array? Because this is contain the ID and title. So it's item, type is object, right? This object contains two properties, right? One is ID, another one is title. So this might be confusing you, but if you pause the video and read it and understanding, right? In case we are using a static flow, which means without an endpoint, you can use it like this. But if you are using WhatsApp flow with endpoint, you can give this value dynamically, right? So sometime if the user press any option, one like put a name, so like this is my name, okay? So after I type my name as Prasad, then only I want to show some value. During after I type here, I am sending this request to my server and get the response to here in the second screen. Okay, this is Prasad, so I am the owner. So what I am going to do, I am going to show a different option. So you can handle that kind of business logic in your backend. In that case, you need to use WhatsApp Flow with an endpoint. I hope you guys are understanding this one. This is just an intro. So we have covered screen layout, routing model, component, form, and action, right? So we have covered three kind of action: navigate, complete, and the data exchange. So data exchange means you are sending the data to your endpoint instead of the webhook. These are the required properties: version, screens, right? So here version, we know like we have to put 3.1 because that is required one, right? And the data API version, again this also, like if you go to here, version is a required property, right? Required property. Optional is data API version, right? Whether you can mention or sometimes you need to mention that depending on the use case. And again routing model, so this routing model contains, you can see it's object, routing models object. So in this first screen we are mentioning to go to the second screen, that's all. And screen, again you know, like screens contain like ID and some other things, right? If you go to here, like screen is containing like ID, title, data. There's a one thing I need to mention, like components not always come inside the form, that might come outside the form as well. So that depending on the use case. If you like this video, please make sure to subscribe, guys. Currently we are building a bot starter kit. So if you see, this is containing the server setup integrated with WhatsApp webhook and WhatsApp Flow. So you no need to think about anything. You just open it and fill your environmental variables, then you are ready to go with it. This will handle the encryption and decryption and the endpoint. We will see the flow creation in detail in the next video. And that's all, guys. If you like this video, please make sure to subscribe and give me a support. And if you understand, please make sure to comment it. And thank you so much.